This is the CMF Phone 2 Pro. Priced at just $279, this budget-friendly smartphone from nothing sub-brand CMF offers a unique blend of design, performance, and features. But the big question is it worth your money, especially being a budget phone? Let's find out. Let's start with the design. And honestly, this is where the CMF Phone 2 Pro really stands out. Unlike many other budget phones that play it safe, this one boasts an industrial, rugged look with visible screws and a split material back that feels premium in the hand. It's available, at least in the United States, in 3 different colors, orange, black, and white. And I'll be honest, I really wanted the orange one, but it was completely sold out when I ordered this phone. So I went for the white one, which still isn't bad, but it's not as punchy. At 7.8 millimeters thick and 185 grams, it's lightweight enough to use all day without feeling like a brick in your pocket. It's honestly much lighter than my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which I've gotten used to the weight of, but this just feels, airier. Plus, it's got an IP54 rating for splash resistance, so if you spill a drink on it by accident or maybe get caught in the rain, there's really no need to panic. That's actually a feature that's usually reserved for pricier phones, so it's definitely a nice bonus here on such a budget option. But now let's get to the display, which is actually another highlight. We're looking at a 6.77-inch AMOLED screen with a 120 Hz refresh rate. If you haven't experienced 120 Hz on a budget phone before, you're in for a treat, probably because you've never experienced 120 Hz. Scrolling through apps on the home screen or playing games or just browsing social media feels buttery smooth, especially when it's working at its full 120 Hz. Also, although you can't really see it on this particular wallpaper and icon layout that I have, the colors on this device are really punchy and vibrant. Because it's an AMOLED panel, it delivers deep, true blacks. And when watching media like YouTube videos or movies on your phone, it really does make a huge difference. You really do have a very deep black on this phone versus LCD displays, which have this sort of almost black look. Now, the brightness of this device isn't incredible. It maxes out at around 500 nits, so it's great for indoor use and decent for outdoor use. I mean, you can still see it pretty well, but it's not gonna win any awards in direct sunlight. Still though, for $279, you're getting a pretty great display. Now, underneath the very industrial and futuristic looking back of this device, you've got a MediaTek Dimensity 7300 Pro chipset paired with 8 GB of RAM. That was a mouthful. Again, it's not going to win any speed awards, especially when compared to the higher end phones available on the market like the iPhone 16, but I will say for a budget phone, this combo handles everyday tasks incredibly smoothly. Social media, messaging, video streaming, and even gaming, specifically the lighter variety of gaming. You can play games like Call of Duty Mobile on this device, and it works fine, but it's not going to look as crisp or run as smoothly as it would on a higher end device. I mean, if you're looking for a gaming phone, you're probably not looking for this. This is more for casual users, but generally for anything that a casual user would use this phone for, it's solid and consistent. Multitasking on this device is also handled really well, especially because of that 8 GB of RAM, so switching between apps feels fast and relatively fluid. I've had this phone for about a week and a half at this point, and I've been playing a lot of Asphalt 8, and it's awesome. It's really, really cool. Now, to be fair, it's not like the smoothest experience, but it still works great. Now, speaking of the OS, this phone runs Nothing OS 3.2, which is based on Android 15, which from what I can tell is pretty clean, fast, and almost stock. Almost. It does have some of those Nothing apps right up there, which I actually don't mind, and I do really love the skin, like I mentioned earlier, but it might not be for everybody. There's no bloatware on this device, which is cool, except for your regular bloatware apps, like the Fitbit app, which some people may or may not use. It's not like that's actually bloatware, but that's something that's, I think, really only for some people. Of course, because it's Google, you've got access to Gemini, so if you're a Gemini fan, you can use that. Of course, it's listening to me right now. Hey, Gemini, what's up? But now let's get to the cameras, which are a major selling point for this phone. I mean, it's a selling point for most phones because this has replaced point-and-shoot cameras for just about everybody. The CMF Phone 2 Pro, which by the way, I hate that name, but hey, there you go, sports a triple camera setup, a 50 megapixel main sensor with phase detection autofocus, a 50 megapixel telephoto lens with 2x optical zoom and 20x digital zoom, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens. Now on the front, there is a 16 megapixel selfie cam. I personally really like the ultra wide and I guess also the telephoto lens as someone who vlogs a lot on their phones. And for a $300 phone or a $279 phone, they're impressive. Again, not gonna win any awards, but maybe they would for a budget phone actually, because they're good. Now obviously the best camera is gonna be the standard camera, and the telephoto camera is also pretty decent as well, as you can see from some of these images, but the wide angle camera is where things kind of leave a little bit to be desired. They definitely lose some quality, and in low light, it's a little rough. In fact, all of the cameras are not the best in low light. They're not bad though, they're definitely serviceable. Also, I've noticed that the ultra wide camera has a tad of fisheye to it. Not much, but a little bit. Still though, for casual shots, social media sharing, and things like that, this camera punches above its weight. Battery life is another strong suit. The 5,000 milliamp hour battery easily lasts a full day of heavy use, which is streaming video, gaming, and chat. chatting and still has some juice left at bedtime. Now, if you're like me and are a super heavy user, then sure, it's not gonna last you all day. But for people who are regular, who maybe don't do social media for a living, then yeah, this is gonna be great. You've got 33-watt wired charging, which is relatively fast, and unfortunately there is no wireless charging, probably because of this sort of dual material back and the fact that you can put on a case to it, which we'll talk about in a second. But the wired charging is good enough. And honestly, after having phones that can wirelessly charge for 5 years at this point, I don't use it that much. Should I not admit that? I don't know, but I don't use it that much. Another standout detail that I forgot to mention that I really like is the under-screen fingerprint sensor. It's fast, it's very responsive, and it's cool. Like, not every phone has that. I think that's cool. I like that a lot. I mean, you guys might know this about me already, but I am primarily an iPhone user, so stuff like that, which has been on Android phones for years, still gets me. Like, I'm still excited about it. Should I not be? I don't know. But now let's get to one of the most interesting aspects of the CMF Phone 2 Pro, and that's the modular accessories. Now, there is a downside to this, and that's that you actually need to buy an adapter, which you screw onto the back of the device in order to actually use the accessories, but it's cool that you actually have the option to physically customize your phone. So the way that the system works is that you unscrew all of these screws right here, you stick on like sort of a back cover or an extra case, you screw that in, and that has a really strong magnet that allows you to magnetize a bunch of accessories to it, as well as allowing you to add extra lenses on top of your lenses. Accessories include things like a wallet, a kickstand, or in the case of lenses, a macro lens or a fisheye lens, which does actually add a lot of personality and practicality. Now yeah, you might be wondering why I'm not showing you B-roll of these accessories and how they work. Well, that's because they are not currently available in the United States. I know, it sucks. It kind of takes away one of the main selling points of this phone. Oh, and like I mentioned earlier, the green color of this phone is also not available in the United States. Not as big of a deal, but still. Again, not actually having used the accessories myself, one thing that I will say is that I don't love the way that the case looks when you put it on the back of the phone. It kind of simplifies the design too much. I personally really love this very industrial design look. I think it's sick. I'm actually an industrial designer, and industrial design usually doesn't really mean exactly what it sounds like. I'm a product designer, but when I'm saying industrial design, I mean that this looks industrial in its design, if that makes sense. But hey, I like the way it looks a lot. It's unique, it's different. It might not be for everybody, but I do think that that simple case that you put on the back kind of simplifies it too much and makes it not as interesting as it could be. That aside, I think the design of this phone is super unique. I think it's really cool. No one that I know has this phone, and it would be a cool sort of conversation starter when you slap it on the table at work or wherever you're using this phone. So for $279, you get everything that I mentioned about the CMF Phone 2 Pro and some things that I didn't, which is pretty impressive. This phone challenges the idea that budget phones have to suck. Like, it looks good, and it's fast, and it's got decent cameras, and it's all for less than $300. It's really impressive. Like I said a bunch already, I love the design of this phone. It's fast enough. The cameras are great. You actually get an included screen protector, which is already attached, which is kind of cool. I guess that's a little bit of extra value. And the battery is solid, at least for my limited testing of like a week and a half. I probably should have used this for like 2 months, but I want to go back to my iPhone, I'll be honest with you. That's not to say anything bad about this phone, but I'm used to a more pro device. And as much as this does give me pro features in a lot of ways, it's still not enough. So if you're looking for a pro device, yeah, don't go this way. But if you're looking for a budget phone that can do a bunch of things that are almost pro, it's awesome. And eventually, I would like to try those modular accessories, but unfortunately, again, they're not available. So if you're someone who's looking for a budget phone that has a very unique and somewhat polarizing look, that doesn't break the bank, but does do a lot of things really, really well, this phone is definitely worth considering. So is the CMF Phone 2 Pro worth it? In my opinion, yeah. I think so. It's not perfect, but no phone is. It offers so much in value, design, performance, cameras, and battery life. If you want a budget phone that doesn't feel like a compromise, this one deserves a spot on your shortlist. But hey, if you made it to this point in the video, let me know your thoughts on the CMF Phone 2 Pro in the comment section down below. Are you interested in grabbing it? Do you have another CMF phone? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.